Well, my project today is to paint this lovely pub that I had a lovely Sunday lunch there a couple of weeks ago. This is the Hoops. It's in Bassingbourn, which I think is just Hertfordshire. Or is it Cambridgeshire? Probably just in Cambridgeshire, but it's quite old. Well, it's very, very old, but of course Bassingbourn is full of history, and there was a big military base there, bomber base I believe, in the Second World War, and they actually made some of the movie Memphis Belle there, but it's just full of history. And when you're having a lovely meal in here, you can think about perhaps all those airmen who came in here when they come back from a mission, and sadly of course many thousands did not make it. But anyway, let's press on and do this beautiful old pub. We've got some nice colours and some nice shadows. Bright sunny day, it was a lovely day, so I've got to try and capture the warmth. And the sun is coming from right to left, so you can see we've got some shadows here and something along the front of the building there, and this car, shadows there, and we've got lots of flower displays here, hanging baskets. So let's get on with that anyway. I'm going to start with the sky. Our lightest lights is usually what you do with watercolour. So I'm not going to do wet on wet, though. I think I'm just going to make a little puddle of cerulean. It was quite a bright day, and it's fairly lightish, although in the top left here I will put a slightly darker blue, probably a little bit of ultramarine. So I think I'll dab in a little bit anyway. So I've got a puddle there. Now I've got three basic blues actually. I've got cobalt, cerulean and ultramarine. So let's just dabble just randomly and leave some whites for some cloud, which we had there. Come down behind this tree here. Now I'm going to just take a damp brush and soften some of the edges of my blue. Let it diffuse a little bit. Get the soft edges. Leave some space for a cloud. Just about that. In fact, I'm going to put a little bit stronger in that section and let it diffuse down a little bit. A few streaks there. Let's just go with that. Right. Okay. I could take a little bit of tissue actually and lift a little bit, because there was some wispy clouds actually high in the sky. So I wonder if I could look in that sort of direction, like that. A streak in there. Right. I think I'm going to leave it that. So, right, and we've got all this roadway here. Quite a slab of bright colour. So, I'm going to use a mop brush. The one I've just used for that sky is a number 4. I've got a slightly bigger one here, 6. So I'm going to wet in here a little bit for my road. Just so I can drop some different colours in there. And this is the car park here. So if I do that now, I'm going to get a little bit of raw sienna. And drop that in here. It's all gravel in here. Right, we'll go with that. And it was somewhat bluer in our roadway here. So I'm just going to use some of the colours that are just lying around on my palette here. And fairly wet mixture, just to give us some thing there. Right. I think we can drop in darker colours just to create some tonal variation as streaks like that, and the curb line is coming along here, so I think I'll just make use of that. This is a wet on wet technique, and then of course you get the what they call the happy accidents with the watercolour. That's half the fun of it, really, because you really don't know what's going to happen. Sometimes it's good, but you've got to embrace some of those happy accidents just the way it is. I'll be doing these shadows a bit later, more pronounced, but I just want to give some texture to our ground there. Right, let's leave that for a moment. Now I think let's try. I don't want to. Well, I want to get something in that roof. So as you can see, I've sketched it out actually in a fair amount of detail. So I might just wash in a lot of colours, just gently sweep them in, and make use of some of the sketch that I've done. So I need to get these roofs in. So how do we go with that? Let's go for a bit of raw umber. I think that is, yes. Yes, I think that will suit our purposes. Right. And this one here, this thatch, that's tiled, but this one is thatched. And this is what you have in England, a lot of vernacular building. This is really ancient, probably 1600, 1700, whatever. Then that looks like that might be Victorian, additional element there. So you get this sort of vernacular. As the needs of the period come, they make changes. So we'll get that in. And these windows are sort of hidden in our thatch. Our little elements of thatch anyway come over the windows. So I've got to try and capture that with sort of the dark shadow area. So we've got some sense of their depth, how they're hidden somewhat. A great big lump of thatch here projects over this end of the building. Right, there we go. And I've got to try and create this like a peak over here. And I want to try and get some of the decoration of the thatch as well. Lots of clever reed work Thatcher has done. Right, let's just sweep that over there. We can come in with more detail to pick it out later down the road. That's a start anyway. And I'll put some dark areas along these edges, which helps to give us a little bit of a 3D effect. Again, I'll probably do that with a stronger shadow colour. But while I've got something there, we can go with that. Then, also, I noticed this part of the this old thatch bit is got some old planks, old wood planks just along here. So I think I'll darken them up in a certain moment. But let's just get something in. Right, there we go. There's some nice plants here on the front in little buckets and tubs. So we've got to try and get some of that in. But of course the same we'll consider with watercolour is getting the darks in. You've got to have the dark to offset your lights. So it's a good idea sometimes to squint your eyes and compare one relative value to another. So if I do that now, I can quite clearly see that this is far too light. So we'll just go with that right away. Deep black that was. Coming across here. I want to try and leave a few lights because I want to put in some green, some tubs. They will leave some elements of light. Right, there you go. And while I've got this dark, oh, there was a bin there. Let's put that down. And this much darker. It's in the shade. As I say, the light is coming from right to left. So this will be shadowed. Much darker. Right, we'll go with that. And under the peaks here, these bits of the Thatcher's decoration there, little peaks and little zigzags. So they're quite deep. The thatching, there's quite an edge there, so you can emphasize that somewhat with our again a shadow in there, dark shadow cast by this roof onto this part of the wall, and this part of the thatch, of course, comes down there. Try and show some of this reed work. And this side of the chimney is in shadow. So we'll get that in while we can. Dark there. Right. And this, of course, silhouetted somewhat against the brighter sky, so that was dark. We have sort of elements of dark here. The edge of the, and to try and create that bowed effect of the thatch that projects here. I'll try and show that here, and also there. Right, there we go. And here, of course, there's a big, the windows are really hidden in the thickness of that thatch. You can see that. And the same again here. Need to soften that edge like that. It's dark there. As you can see, we've got some birds are not real birds, it's just the thatcher. He's created a bird shape and put them on the roof there. I've got to try and capture them. Right, where do we go now? I've got so much food and real ales. It says there on that side. So I can emphasize some of this with our pen and ink perhaps later. Let's draw that line in now. Get something of our shapes there. Yeah, I think we need to emphasize that line of that there. I can darken these things up later with a thicker paint. Let's stay with that. Could do this. That side of that chimney. And just a little bit lighter on the sun side. We'll do that in a second. I'll just wipe that off a little bit. Go with a slightly different tone. Make that a little lighter. There. And there too. Right. And I think we need something a bit different there. Looking a bit boring. You have to not be a slave to the photograph. If it works, you know, you're creating a painting, so it's going to be a little different. Right, let's put something in there. There were tiles actually, so we've got a bit of terracotta there. Let's get a bit of a shadowy colour under there. So I'm going to a little bit of blue and a little bit of cadmium red. Cadmium red, I think, will give me a bit of a shadow effect there. That's what I need to do, yes. Right. Got the brewer's sign there. I'll put something slightly different colour in there. This is a famous brewer in the east of England called Green King. They're based in Bury St Edmunds, very old market town. So let's get this face in with a bit of ochre and a bit of yellow, because it is, I want to keep it warm. So I'm going to get a little tiny sweep of yellow. Yes, that will do it. Here we are, coming now. It's funny, watercolour, how it evolves. Sometimes you feel a little bit despairing. You think, oh, that's not working. You're tempted to throw in the towel, but don't do that, because they all go through a kind of awkward stage. But they suddenly be amazed how it transforms when you put a bit of detail in. suddenly becomes something quite different. So we've got yellow in there, mixture of lemon, of cadmium yellow and yellow ochre. I need, this one is going to be a darker tone. So we'll go again, ochre, maybe a little raw sienna. Yes, I think that's a bit darker. That's what we need. This is shadowed, of course. Leaving those little blobs because I want to put some colourful hanging baskets in there. Oh, yes, that's a window. That's a window as well, isn't it? Of course. No, it's not. That's the window. That's going to be a hanging basket. So let's just get our surface. But if you're ever passing by this pub in Bassingbourn, you've got to make a visit. Get a marvellous Sunday lunch there. And this side is a little bit lighter, strangely. But we'll put that. And yes, we've got one, yes, got windows to put in as well. They're all just sketched in very loosely there. Now I need to put, let's get the that green, this tree here. Start framing our picture up a little bit. We have here as well. So put some darker elements in here. There's a building here. Some colour there. This terracotta building. Tiles. Right, let's change the green. Okay, we need to have some darker bits. That's a bit too dark. Put a bit of viridian in there. Use your nail to make a few lighter bits of branches. And I need to put one to this left hand side as well. So I'm going to do that. A lot of vegetation here overshadowing this. There's another building here, which we'll do within a minute. Just almost enveloped in the greens here. Other buildings. here. Let's get different color for this roof. Let's lighten it up a bit. Yes, it's got a bit of a ochre. Let's put a bit of brown in that. Too bright. That's red. Oh yes, there's a car here as well. Try and get that in a minute. Right, let's leave that a moment. Now, what should we do? I've got a car here. Cars are very tricky to do, actually. So I'm being a little bit daring today. Probably because it was a nice colour. This little car here. So I'm going to have a go at this. That's right, it's essentially all this great colour. The side, yes. Here. And we put some shadows in and some darks for the window. Hopefully it will become a little more readable. Just quite a lot darker. There's windows there. With a hatchback. Windows there, all dark. Right, and we'll put some lights in a moment. But this is all, let's get a bit more of that purple in. Put his number plate in a minute. We'll leave that for the moment, I think. Bring it down here. Yeah, let's leave that for the moment. I've got little blue car here actually. Let's just hint at that one. Right. Now squint my eyes. Yes, it's good. See, if I put the windows in now, it might read a little bit better. And the doors. I mean, I'm just doing a fairly loose interpretation of this, but you can step it up if you like to really go heavy on the details, which, you know, you may appeal to you. I usually do actually after I've finished filming. I usually get a lot more detail in, but just for the purposes of doing a video, I tend to do it fairly swiftly, just to get a start anyway. Right. Okay, we're getting something of it. Got the right. Darker, I think we need them. Got various signs on the building promoting their wares. Actually, I think I need to raise these black planks. I think they're higher than I'm showing them. Yes, I think that's more like it. They come up here. Right. Okay, let's leave that a little bit. I think this, so you can do lots of additional detail which will make it read better. It can take a long time. Our bird, I don't know what sort of bird it is. Something with a good strong silhouette. It's got quite a tail. Could that be a pheasant maybe? Right, let's put some darker greens in some of these areas. Like there. Put some more detail in that car later. I think we could darken up some of our greens in the base of these trees as well. Because I don't get many shadow down here. Put some of the tubs in as well, perhaps. Maybe we should be doing that. Right. Let's get some green, some fairly bright. So I've got a little bit of. It's not a bit contaminated, that, so I think I'm just going to, that's it, that's more like it. And I can drop some green in, or blue, that will turn it green, that's better. Right. Got a hedge along there. Help describe the car a bit better. Heading up to there. Right. Now they've got bits and bobs everywhere. I got that. Oh yes, they've got a little trellis work here. Now I need a much thinner brush. What have I got here? Oh yes, this is number 2. So let's get some thing that can help me get some little suggestion of what's going on with that brush. Yes, let's have another go. It's over the door. They've got this little trellis work. Like that. Let's get some of these bright colours in. Got some reds, some pinks and greens. So let's, yes, I've got it here. Various places actually. So what I'll do is, I can drop some whites and pinks on this in a moment. Put some green on them as well. I notice he's got some bollards here. Use this red when I've got it there. And also, we've got to put in some lights on this car. Quite a big cluster it was actually. There we go with that. And their yellow of the number plate, we'll do that in a minute. They've got everywhere has a little traffic cone. I wonder why they've got one there. Let's get some nice greens going. I've got some Viridian here. Yes, that will help with some of these hanging baskets, perhaps. Some greens. And, oh yes, along here, I've got a mass of flowers. So I've got to try and vary that. So let's get a different red. I think I've got to, let's see. This is a little bit of rose madder, I think. I'm going to put some whites and yellows in a moment. I've got some roses going up there. Roses going here too. Right. Let's get our nice yellows going somewhere. I need to put some darks in as well. My greens are not dark enough. Use a bit of this light though. This light green, sun is coming right to left. So we could, to reflect some of the warmth that you have in a summer scene, you need warm colours. Bit of cadmium yellow there. Right, let me see. Bit of yellow there. So I want to make sure, I might glaze over some of this to give some warmth along here. But let me see, let's get some shadows in. Yes, let's get a little of my squirrel brush or mop brush. You see that one? Nice point on that. So if I make a nice shadow color of ultramarine blue, and some sort of red. Ah, yes, I've used that madder. Yes, I think I can sweep that, because this building here is casting quite a strong shadow across there. So let's go with that. That's it. And also along here on the face of that, it's casting shadow. So we'll do that. And the car has got a nice shadow as well coming out. Keep it strong there. Perhaps a little darker there. So I'm going to use a bit of Payne's grey into my mix and darken that up a little bit. So try and keep that shape that it's casting, like that. And darks under here. Cast a little shadow there. Right. Okay, now let me think. I've got a telegraph, or not telegraph, a light post there. I've got to get that in a bit, but let's use a bit more of that shadow colour along there. Building is casting a little bit there. So right. Yes, this chimney is casting a shadow as well. And that as well across there. And a little bit there of this car. Darks under there. We can deal with that later. Now what about some of these fans? Yes, I just spied. They've got this lovely lanterns, triangular shaped lantern. So I've got to try and do that. And the question is, do I do that with a pen and ink perhaps? It's very, very fine. I've got any ink in here, in my pen here. Yes, I think so. Yeah, so I think I'm going to just go with a pen like that. And here we've got some fine detail for the Green King sign. Try and use some of this pen to suggest those planks a bit better as well. And we could delineate these windows a bit better, I think. And they were dark in there. Casting the deep shadows. So get some idea of the depth of this thatch. All dark in there. And the windows. Right. Yes, I need to darken these windows. One here. This is all this old pub full of old beams and inglenook fireplaces. And all there. Let's darken these windows. Some of the very odd shaped windows, all varying a little bit. Little signs here. Right. This needs to be darker under here, I think. Under the eaves line. It always gives you a little more 3D to your building, gives some solidity to it. Darken this wheel, this tires up. Try and get some of the shape. Right. As I said, I could do considerably a lot more actually detail, but I'm just drawing a few things here to add to the illusion of it. Yeah, parking bollards. Right. Okay. This old garage here, it's adjacent property, I think that is. Kind of suggests that. Building there. And what we haven't done actually is put some people in. Perhaps we should put a person in here. Another one here. And a nice couple of ales together, perhaps. Another fellow here. Right. Let me see what else. So again, suggest this car here. Well, have I done enough? I could do a lot more to this actually if I really wanted to get down to the nitty-gritty. Just emphasize some of these shadow and dark. And that will give you more definition. This is a Lamy, this pen. If you want to do some sketching, urban sketching, these are marvellous. It's got a cartridge inside which you can replace. So you've got a nice nib actually. Just doesn't seem to get too blocked. Just a drop of water can clear it often. Right. Good coconut. I've got lots of little signs on it as well. So I've got this little trellis work here. Yes, I could got that window, sash window open a little bit there. I'll suggest that. And they've got a Guinness sign here. Lovely Guinness. Another door there. I'll try and suggest that. Anyway, I think I will leave it at this. I could probably do quite a lot more, probably will, but I think for the video, for the YouTube, it's probably enough. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed my little trip to Bassingbourn, and the Hoops it's called. Great place if you're passing by. So if you'd like to see more videos, please touch the subscribe button and the like button, and then of course you will be notified automatically when I put something up. So you'll be informed. Anyway, thanks for watching.